Good evening, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live with me, Mike Avery. Greg, good evening, buddy. How are you? Patrick, Randy, Johnny, Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. How you guys doing tonight? Do appreciate you being along with us. It was a beautiful day today, wasn't it? Man, it feels like springtime out there. Have reports in the southern part of the state of red-winged blackbirds showing up. I'm going fishing Monday, open water. All is good in the outdoor world. We're going to have a good show tonight, too. Coming up here in a little bit, Amy Trotter of MUCC, Executive Director of MUCC, will be joining me. And it'll be your chance to ask her some questions. I have questions tonight, too, because our timing is very good. There's a lot going on. Hello, Cliff. Uncle Johnny, how are you doing? Dennis, Bernie. Hello, Tim. Jim checking in from Tennessee. Not much. What's up with you? Andrew, where'd we go? Andrew, Mike, Kevin, Don, Tommy Accardo, how are you? How's the family? Johnny says, daylight longer makes you happy. It makes me happy as well. Jerry says he can't wait to hear from Amy. A lot to talk about right now. Jim says, good evening, Mike. Love this warmer weather. I do as well. Jim Felgenauer, how you doing, buddy? Kathy, thank you. Jeff, good evening, Dave. Anyway, my name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. It's something I do every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on my social media outlets. When it gets warmer and when it gets nice and when it's still light, about 7:45 when we're done, I'll start the occasional Wednesday After Live. We'll do something there, too. Tommy says, doing well. Thanks. The kiddos getting excited for spring turkey season. So am I. Brian, good evening. Hello, Linda. Linda, a real good, strong, positive contributor here, says, looking forward to hearing from Amy. She's always a captivating guest on your feed. Thank you. Jerry says there are red-winged blackbirds in his area. Jeff says a bunch. And Jeff, you're in the St. Joe area, aren't you? Good evening, Shannon. How are you? Some things to talk about tonight. We'll talk about the radio rundown for this weekend. We'll talk about the big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction coming up next weekend, Saturday, March 2nd. We'll talk about some things on my mind, and then we'll talk with Amy Trotter of MUCC. She's the executive director of MUCC. And I don't know if we did this intentionally, scheduled it for right now or what, but our timing is good because there's a lot going on. Hey, Ed, good evening. How are you? Gene, how are things over in Apex Land? Jeff said, yep, St. Joe, where the steelhead fishing in the St. Joe River is on fire. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing, buddy? Brent, my good friend. 5 minutes until puck drop. So we got you for 5 minutes, then you're gone, eh, Brent? Jerry checking in from the Adirondacks. Yeah, I saw that. 15 for 18. In fact, I posted your picture. Hey, Tony. Tony, I'm going to make you jealous. I'm going to fish the Skinny Water and the river on Monday. Bill Lincoln, the guy who suggested we do an outdoor magazine or a Mike Avery Outdoors golf outing. Well, Bill, you started the whole thing, and we're going to do it. It's going to be Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. And proceeds are going to go to the MUCC Youth Camp. Record-breaking warm temps coming next week. Emil says, have you told Amy about the golf outing? Emil, what do you take me for here, dude? I'm on top of things. Amy, do you know about the... Yeah, she knows about it. Oh, Bill says he'll be there. Hey, Ken, are you still down south? Or are you back home now? Michelle Plowman, Craig Plowman's better half. Okay. Hey, Daryl, how are things up in White River? If you want to do a wolf hunt, a legal wolf hunt, Daryl Godden up in White River, Ontario, although I think his season's pretty much wrapping up. They're tapping maple syrup. They've been tapping. You're back home now. Okay, Ken. No, it's not off topic, Kirk. Good evening, Tom. Oh, Brent checking in from Port Huron. All right, listen, because I know she's got a lot to do tonight. Let me set the stage here a little bit. Let me set the scene. MUCC, Michigan United Conservation Clubs, a group that I am a member of and I support very much. John, things are warm. Okay, just want to get to those topics. I really support MUCC. I don't always agree with everything they do, but it would be kind of weird if I did, right? If I was just like an MUCC sycophant. But overall, I think they're a great organization. I support them very much, and I like to give them as much exposure as possible. Amy Trotter is their executive director. She's a great woman, a great person. I like her a lot. She's very easy to work with, and I'm going to bring her now into this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Hey, good evening, Amy. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. How are things in your world?
We are really busy right now. So we are planning for convention. We are wrapping up an exciting time of finding a new marketing firm to work with at MUCC. And, the policy stuff is really heating up right now, too. So we're definitely kind of here and there and everywhere. It's show season, hiring season, all of those things.
All right. A list of things I want to talk about tonight, and of course, things you want to talk about as well. Can we start out, though, with this? What I'm hearing is some circles is being called almost a civil war in the hunting community. It's over the coyote, the proposal to limit the coyote hunting season. What's MUCC's take on this, Amy?
So there's a proposal right now to close the hunting season during what is effectively known as the quiet period for dog running. So that April to July time period. MUCC is in opposition to closing this. We worked really hard back in 2016 to make it a year-round coyote hunting opportunity, and we'd like it to stay.
Because of the recreational opportunities, because of the lack of biological evidence. What's it based on, Amy?
Well, everybody has different motivations for why they may harvest a coyote. A lot of it, though, is predator management. And they're really trying to do things at a time when they have time to do it, when they have opportunity to do it. So, again, I don't judge people based on their motivations of why they might want to harvest a coyote during that time of year, but it is an effective tool for managing locally the population, and there's no science to say that we're harming the population in any way either.
Yeah, thank you for that. My question wasn't clear. It was directed at why you at MUCC are in favor of it, and you just answered that because there's no biological reason not to, right?
Exactly.
Does this would this be an overreach by the NRC and go against Proposal G?
I I do believe they have the authority to do this. So I guess I'm not questioning their authority. I have a hard time unless they present us with some kind of new scientific rationale that's different than what they used in 2016 to suggest this is or isn't going to have an impact on our coyote population. So MUCC is always in favor of providing maximum opportunity that is sustainable. And right now we have that, and there's no reason to suggest we need to change it.
And it's unfortunate. I kind of talked about this on the radio show right off the bat. And then it started to divide groups of hunters. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to be a part of airing our dirty laundry in public, but it is kind of unfortunate the way it has caused hunting groups to have some unnecessary friction, I think.
I am really sad about the Civil War, as you mentioned it, between us, because again, I do understand this proposal was brought forward with good intention. It is about concerns that they have that have nothing to do, again, with biology or science, but the public perception of hunting. And the initiators of this proposal really believe that from their perspective, it's cutting off the toe to save the foot. That's their perspective. It's a perspective I disagree with, and I've shared that with them. um I am concerned, though, about the civil discourse or in uncivil discourse maybe about individuals and their motivations. It was brought forward with good intention. Unfortunately, it is an unnecessary distraction when we know the quote unquote wolf is at the door, coming for the entire land.
Just a reminder for folks watching, you know me, Mike Avery. I'm talking with Amy Trotter, Executive Director of MUCC. I have a list of questions for Amy. She has things she wants to talk about. But if you have a question for Amy Trotter, don't hesitate to post them here in your comments, and we will certainly try to get to every one tonight. Amy, let's talk about the DMI, the Deer Management Initiative. I did not get chosen for that group. I did apply. I'm not disappointed that I didn't get chosen because I don't think I would have been a good representative. I did find it interesting today, though. I tried to get a list of who's on that group, and I was told I had to file a Freedom of Information request.
Yeah. I think this is a highly guarded and probably poorly kept secret. The FOIA, my understanding, has been filed, so I'm sure someone on the internet will share that information very soon. I can announce that I have been chosen for the Deer Management Initiative.
I figured.
And, maybe that's surprising, maybe that's not, I don't know. They did want a mix of organizations and individuals. They wanted both in the mix, to do it differently than we had done before, which was all organization driven, and there were very few at large members or deer hunters as part of the conversation. So I've been a part of many of these initiatives over the last 17 years that I've worked at MUCC. So I'm excited to dig in, and I could really bring a lot of perspective and background on the things that I could really probably go through what the debates will be on any given topic, any given day, and I can even probably speak on other people's behalf because I know what their organization or their group or that individual perspective is going to be, because these aren't new arguments necessarily. They are definitely things that have been in circulation for a long time. So it's hard to envision that we're going to come out with something that has true, unanimous consensus out of this deer management initiative. But I do think it is a good tool for the Natural Resources Commission, who haven't been around all the time, haven't maybe heard the dialogue and the interplay that I've heard in the back rooms and the hallways and the conversations that we've all had as stakeholders. So I think it's going to be a valuable tool for them to at least sort of toss them things out and get some feedback and kind of that iterative process that maybe would speed up the public comment session at a future NRC meeting, because they're going to have a lot of that conversation fed to them through this initiative.
Martin, you say you didn't get your rejection letter yet. Well, maybe no. If you didn't get the word that you're in, you're not in. Scott Keatsman says one of your employee was chosen, an everyday taxidermist. Amy, are you getting an echo there? If so, I apologize.
I was, but I think it's fixed now, at least on my end.
Okay, all right. I tried to do something on my end. I'm still hearing it, but okay, good deal. Okay, you mentioned NRC, and maybe I shouldn't ask this, but in January, there was a new member appointed to NRC, a tribal member. Is that a concern at all?
So yes, Robin Clark was appointed back in December. The initial appointment, well, we had maybe some concerns about perceptions and what that might mean, because we are in the middle still of the consent decree litigation now at this point, and appealing that process and how tribal fishing would interplay with this individual's authority on the Natural Resources Commission. We certainly had those concerns, but those concerns were heightened when she actually announced at the January meeting then that she took a new position with the Sioux tribe as their natural resources department director. So someone with that kind of position now, in having authority over the state licensed hunters and anglers of Michigan, as well as her own role within the tribe, It definitely heightens that concern about, what perspective someone is bringing and whether there's any real or perceived conflicts there. Um, so we've had that conversation with her. And that's the great thing about MUCC and the role that I have is that we were just candid. We sat down and we talked about it. And she said that, it will be something to navigate. She's going to have to look at it issue by issue, but we wanted her to know that we were watching that. And, we wanted to kind of open up the relationship in a candid way so that hopefully we can have a working relationship going forward. At this point, the time has run out. Unfortunately, the Senate, chose not to do an advice and consent hearing. That is our legal check and balance for these kinds of appointments of the governor, is to engage the Senate in an advice and consent hearing. That was not done. And so the clock has run out on that piece of it. And it seems that even though with this new job, she's not stepping down, so she's still there at the table, and we want to have a constructive relationship going forward.
I made it. Nah, it's still there. I'm still hearing it. And I don't know, my friends. Let me just do something real quick here. Make just a couple of changes to see if I can get rid of it. Amy, talk if you would real quick.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is that better?
No, you were great. I'm the one who's delaying and echoing, but I don't hear it now. So
okay.
Hey. Ta-da.
Good, thanks.
I just kept clicking buttons until I found the right one.
Sorry about that.
No, you didn't do it. I did it. It was on my end. Okay. I know commercial fish is something you want to talk about tonight. What's going on there?
Well, and the commission conversation rolls right into that as well. We are still at the table filing briefs in the appellate court on the consent decree. So nothing is settled at that stage. Simultaneously, because we have to still deal with the fact that the consent decree is now the guiding law of the land when it comes to tribal fishing, there are some things already happening in implementation that we don't have consensus on. So we're talking actively to the Department of Natural Resources Fisheries Division about how we can implement this and make sure that all of the parties are held accountable for the things that we did agree to in the consent decree. And whether that is the reporting mechanisms and, coming to consensus on harvest limits and all of those things, we still have to go forward with the implementation, even while we're fighting it still in the courts. So we are having those open conversations with the department and assuring that they are enforcing the terms to the best of their ability and holding the groups, the tribes, all accountable for what they said they would do when signing this consent decree.
I'm going to post this question for my buddy Scott Keatsman. He says, "I like how Amy answers questions. I vote that she replaces Chad Stewart." I don't want to talk about attacks on people, but I will say the position that Chad Stewart, in my opinion, finds himself in is a no-win situation. You're not going to please deer hunters here in Michigan, which, Amy, I wonder if that deer management initiative, no matter what is decided, people are going to be unhappy about it, right?
It will absolutely disappoint 50% of people on 50% of the issues. It is a no-win situation with deer. I say it all the time. I've said this to Chad himself. He has the worst job in all of state government. And every single person that has had that position has lost their hair, gone gray prematurely, everything else. It's the worst. And that is because we bring, as sportsmen and women here in Michigan, and even anti-conservationists, from all walks of life, we bring so much passion to the table around deer. And it is, something that sometimes, can again get personal. It can get heated, and we do need to, again, stick to the information before us, make data-driven decisions. That's my hope. And what I'm coming, there is all the historical things we've tried that didn't work as some people might think or, they intend. And what can we learn from other states as well? I want to have those conversations, but, it is really hard to convince 500,000 people that the direction we're moving is the right one or the wrong one.
Joe Bean says hey, he wants to thank you, Amy. You always do a great job. You're very well spoken and transparent on being on our side. So thank you for that. I want to follow up on the DMI, and I don't want to beat this to death, but I had heard rumors that there were going to be anti-hunters on this, or maybe even non-hunters. Do you know anything about this, Amy? Have you seen the list? Do you know anything more?
I've seen a couple different things where we were trying to schedule. I did not recognize all the names on the list. That doesn't mean I know who they are or where they're from. I do know there are definitely people who are passionate hunters on there that are not affiliated with organizations. And then I do know some of the organizations that you would expect, because they do want to broaden it beyond just the deer hunters, but by people impacted by deer. So there is, for example, I saw someone from a local parks perspective that has challenges with deer management in a natural area. I saw someone that, represents farming groups and forestry groups. They all have to deal with deer, but their members and their citizens or their constituents all still care about deer hunting as well. I mean, you can't tell me that farmers don't care about deer hunting. They absolutely do. They may have challenges with crop damage too. So there are some individuals coming at it from different perspectives, but I think we all want a sustainable deer population. We all want recreational opportunities to be maximized as well. And, we don't want those negative impacts. So if we can find something that kills a couple of those, birds with a stone, good. It might be better than what we have now.
What about the insurance groups? We always hear, oh, it's the insurance group who run companies who run deer management behind the scenes. I think that's a kind of a tinfoil hat way of looking at things. But is there somebody from an insurance company on the DMI?
I am not aware that there is. I can't say no because I don't know every individual in the group and what they do from a day-to-day perspective. But I can tell you that the only insurance, related group at all ever is Farm Bureau. And they represent farmers. I mean, their advocacy side represents farmers. Now, they are funded by an insurance company, but I really don't think their insurance company is fueling their farming advocacy. But I mean, that is an obvious one where you see their name, you see them come be forward in testimony. But Michigan Farm Bureau is the advocacy side, not the insurance side. Now, one of my very good friends and someone is Erin McDonough, who literally runs the Association of Insurance Companies here in Michigan. That's her new job. I've never seen her engage in natural resources issues in that position as the, Institute for Insurance, or the Insurance Association of Michigan. So they've got bigger fish to fry, and it's just not something that they're day-to-day engaged in at all.
I didn't know she had a new job. I didn't realize that. That's
since 2020. She's actually the representative of the insurance companies.
Erin, of course, was the former MUCC executive director. Last I knew, she was working oil and gas. So it shows you what I know. All right.
Yep. It's been a little bit.
It's been a while. All right. On a lighter note, Ed Bolanowski says, were you able to get out and use some of your new trapping skills that you've learned?
I did. And actually, it's been so fun. So I have not been successful because my time is still limited in being able to really run a trap line. My husband, though, it motivated him, and he got out all of his old stuff that he hasn't seen since the 90s. We have had a blast, though, bringing, his limited take. I think we've got 9 muskrats and 1 mink and a handful of raccoons, probably. And that's between our household and another household. But getting our girls and now their friends engaged in watching the skinning process and the fleshing process has been awesome. We have the weirdest slumber parties for 5th graders at our house because they are getting firsthand knowledge of this. They all come from, non-hunting families. And so it's been really fun just sharing that side of it, even in the barn in the evenings, and, getting other people involved. So we've done that. I've done more of that than I have out in the field myself.
Question from former state rep Tristan Cole. And you've already addressed this, but a quick follow-up. Has MUCC spoken out against a tribal member being put on the NRC? Tristan, you came in late, but Amy, you did address that.
I did. We've had a conversation with her. So we've talked to her directly. I have a call into the governor's office. I have not yet connected with them. We have been trying to get a hold of the appointments process to just share our concerns and also, maybe a path to move forward. But we are very concerned from again, a perceived or real conflict of interest. And so we'll be watching all of those votes carefully where we think there may be a, interplay between that.
Amy, how do things work in Lansing behind the scenes? Can you pick up the phone and call the governor? Will she take your phone call? Can you have a direct conversation with her?
With the governor, no. I do know a handful of the staff members. And so, we have been trying to make inroads, of course, again, and we knew this to be the consequence and we knew this was possible, but in 2020, we did sue the governor. And
and that kind of ruined the lines of communication.
Yeah. So over the COVID rules related to motorized boating. And so that has probably tied some of our pinkies behind our backs in terms of that regular and, candid access. But I think we're making inroads. Again, we do talk about the appointments process from time to time. I can't say that I'm, voting or swaying those inside, but at least they are reaching out to let me know things before they happen, I guess, so we can prepare.
John, a good question. Amy, anybody had a chance to talk to the new DNR director about that person? Not a hunter, right? Does that matter?
Yeah, we have had a chance to talk with Scott now several times, and he admittedly doesn't know all the things about natural resources, here in Michigan. He does like to fish and he has hunted before. But the thing that I think is good is his perspective is, but my staff know. And he has really let his chiefs lead a lot of things and provide feedback. And he's really trusting in those staff to, guide him. And then he's working towards implementing that. So whether it's the conversation with the governor or the legislature, those are the things that then he's taking those staff comments and bringing those forward and their priorities forward. So that's what he's committed to. And we're excited to help him where we can support those kinds of initiatives.
Jordan Hoover, I'm going to bring you in because you are a member of the Deer Management Initiative. Congrats on that, Jordan. Jordan was on the radio show here a couple of weeks ago. Jordan, Amy did already address that. MUCC is not in favor of it, but I wanted to bring you in because you are on the DMI. Listen, I want to move things along, Amy. We're going to be here with you all night. Your convention's coming up. That's a big deal.
It is. It really is. And convention is really it's the end, but it's also the beginning of our policy process. So all the things I talk about here day in and day out on advocacy and policy issues really have stemmed from a grassroots policy position that went through a lengthy process and culminated in our annual convention. Our annual convention, you have to be a member to vote. You have to be, you can either be a club delegate or we have individual member representatives representing regions. And they get a voice in the policy positions that then I work to go implement. So that's why I said it's at the end of that policy development process, but it's the kickoff to the implementation. And we see where the arguments are. We see where the tensions might be. We look to try to reduce any tensions that are among our members and try to avoid civil wars if we can. We actually have to have 2/3 majority support for those positions to be adopted if they require us to go and lobby on whether it's the Natural Resources Commission or the legislature or a rulemaking body. So we really do have a lot of process so that where we're at. We're not flip-flopping year to year. And if we don't have a position, we can say it's probably because there was not that super majority consensus. So we're going to be talking about coyotes. We're going to be talking about moose. We're going to be talking about various fishing things. We're going to be talking about boating registration fees. There's a lot on the agenda there. And I can't really tell you right now where I think things are going to go because I don't get a vote. I just get to witness it all and do my best to, help us navigate, making sure, again, that we are basing these decisions on good information. Our staff do provide an analysis and information, and then we do get the DNR's input as well on all of these resolutions. And that's provided then for the voting delegates out there. And then it's up to them to take the votes. So it is an exciting process that's coming up. It's going to be in Sault Ste. Marie, March 8th, 9th, and 10th.
One of the issues you'll be looking at is very dear to my heart, and that's the concept of increasing the number of rods Great Lakes trolling anglers can use. I will be anxiously awaiting the decision there. Justin, just to reiterate, says, and Justin is a policy guy and a lobbyist for MUCC, right? He says, we oppose the closure and indeed do support a year-round coyote season. Scott Keatsman says, Amy, I think you're great. Great for Michigan, and thank you for your time. Well, I reiterate that, Amy. Thank you. Let's see. Anyone from the UP on the new board? Yes, there are 22 people on the, Johnny, from the DMI, the Deer Management Initiative. 22 people from the UP, 24 from the lower. Of those, about half had been hand picked and invited. The other 20 roughly or so are from the general population. Amy, Outdoorama this weekend?
Yeah, our staff was already set up. Yeah, so I'll actually be there for the first time in a while tomorrow afternoon. So I'm excited to spin around the show and say hello to everybody. We are there every day for the tour, and we'll be unfortunately the Grand Rapids show coming up in March is the same time as our convention. So we'll have volunteers running the booth. It will be a little bit smaller at the Grand Rapids show this year because of that conflict, but we will be there at Outdoorama in full force.
Is the Grand Rapids show early this year then?
It is, yeah. It's a week earlier than kind of normal. Okay. So yeah, it's March 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th in the Grand Rapids show.
Emil Russo was asking if you were aware of the golf outing that we're having this summer, Monday, July 29th at the West Branch Country Club. And this whole concept, Amy, came up at a Wednesday Night Live. A guy who's on here right now, Bill Lincoln, says, why don't you have a golf outing? I'm like, yeah, why not? Smoke cigars, maybe drink a beer and play golf. And then somebody said, those things are fundraisers. You can make money. And I thought, where could the money go? I want it to be for an outdoor related cause. Well, what could be better than raising money to encourage kids and help kids get involved in the outdoors? Ding, 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 ding. MUCC Youth Camp. So that's what we're going to do, Amy.
I am so excited. It is on my calendar. I don't golf, but I do drink beer, and I probably can learn how to drive a golf cart. So I will be there to say hello and to do whatever you put me to work. So, but yes, I am very excited for that. And thank you very much for spearheading that.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. What else on your list, Amy? Anything else we need to cover before we get out of your hair?
Oh man, there's so much going on. We are really excited. One of the things that hopefully you might not see for a while, but we are working with a brand new marketing firm, and we actually had a kickoff meeting earlier today. So, hopefully MUCC going forward is really going to get a facelift. You're all going to see the changes here, maybe not for the next 6 months, because we're going to do a lot of internal looking, auditing, seeing what we're doing, seeing how to reach more people, because we are 40,000 members, which is huge, compared to other groups, across the nation. But we've got 500,000 hunters in Michigan, and so there's still a lot more to go. There's a lot more reach that we want. We want to connect people more to our mission. And whether it's getting kids outside, or whether it's engaging in this policy process, or getting people on public lands doing habitat work, we want to have a better reach. And unfortunately, on our staff, we've got environmental scientists, we've got fish and wildlife biologists, we've got journalists, we've got political scientists. We don't have anyone marketing with a marketing background. And that's one thing that we're trying to learn by doing and getting out there. There's 500,000 hunters and millions of anglers actually in Michigan. And so we want to do better at connecting our mission to those folks outside. Usually when I can spend 5 minutes with a person, I can convince them to be a member. But how do I do that with 1 million people? So, we're really trying to amplify what we do and how we do it, because I think those two things are really important together, what we do and how we do it. I like our approach, which is to be diplomatic, and it is to bring forward that civil discourse in these sometimes heated debates, and I hope I can continue to. Again, I don't like what's happening at the Natural Resources Commission. You will see us oppose that, but we're still going to work with them, and we have to work with them on the next issue down the on the agenda. So we can't burn bridges every single time. We can't come at everything with fire and pitchforks. We have to be constructive rather than destructive, and that's what I really want to bring to the minds of all hunters and anglers, and how MUCC can help make that the most effective conversations to have.
So, did you pick the marketing company yet?
We did.
Can you say who it is?
Yeah, Stone Road Media.
Stone Road Media. Where are they out of?
They're actually out of Pennsylvania, which, we may get some pushback from. There's some great firms that we did interview here, but they are from the hunting and fishing industry. And they have a lot of great connections with both companies and organizations across the country. And we're really excited to see how we can leverage some of those relationships too.
Well, Amy, listen, I've taken up enough of your time. I'm going to get out of your hair and we'll move on tonight. But I really enjoy these Wednesday night lives when you and I have a chance to talk. Obviously, our friends who join us, they love this opportunity as well. I'll give you one more opportunity to make a pitch for why somebody should join MUCC.
They should join MUCC because it supports bringing people together to both advocate and protect and conserve our natural resources and our outdoor heritage. There's no other organization that is focused on both the fish and wildlife, the trees, the water, and the opportunities to use them and protecting public access. We are the only group in town that does both of those things, and we do them both very well. We do that through habitat, through engaging our youth, through getting new hunters and anglers out into the field and forests and waters. We do that through policy and engaging people, citizens, stakeholders in the policy process. It's not just me sitting in back rooms making deals. It really is about becoming a voice for our members and leveraging that. So, that's my pitch, and it's only $35 a year. So it's a relatively low cost. It's cheaper than some boxes of ammo for sure. And we definitely believe, and we want, more people in our tent. It is important for the strength and the, protection of our outdoor heritage as well.
MUCC.org, MUCC.org. Thank you, Amy. Always a pleasure. And you and I will talk again soon. All right.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
All right, have a good night. Thank you so much. I love talking to Amy. Mike came in here. There he is right there. I haven't heard from you in a while, big guy. How you doing? Nice to see you with us. Yeah, she is. Amy is awesome. She just does a great job. And yeah, I really appreciate her being along. What else? Let's talk a little bit about, before I get too far down the road, let me tell you about who's on the radio show this week. Jeff says you can sign up for MUCC as you walk into Outdoorama. On this week's show, the first guest is Tom Jenkins talking about Fred Bear Day. Fred Bear's birthday is March 5th. So next weekend in Grayling, they're having a celebration, and he talks about that. Then Gina Cannell of Jay's Sporting Goods has a conversation about suppressors. I went up to Jay's last Thursday in the snowstorm and tried to get, I got the paperwork for my suppressor, but it's going to be months before I can get it. Hello, Doug. Good evening. How are you? Aditya, how are you? Or the claw, as we call it, Aditya. Uncle Johnny and I just call it the claw. I have a stout for me. And then Nick Bougie from the Michigan Wildlife Council. Our second hour, Kevin Jacobs, who was a pilot for the DNR, talks about their aerial surveys. Then Randy Claremont, the fish head for MUCC, and he answers this week's Ask Avery question about keeping spawn-filled walleye this time of year. He said it depends on the fishery, but in some fisheries, it's a good idea. Eric, I do not expect it to take 16 months. I expect that I should have my suppressor out of suppressor jail in time for my fall bear hunt with Johnny Bowler, the bear whisperer, and that will be in September. And then Richard P. Smith chimes in about the DMI, the Deer Management Initiative. He did not get chosen either. When I told him that when I asked for a list of people on the group, that I was told I would have to file a Freedom of Information request, he about came out of his chair, laughing. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. And of course, Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner, page 166. The recipe is page 166 in Dave's recipe book. We will kick off. Thank you, Ed Bolanowski, for reminding me. We will kick off our ham for the holidays, our Easter ham, because it is Lent, when Nick gets back from his Arkansas snow goose hunt. Dave is saying, when is the Wednesday night live event at the Lumberjack in West Branch? It'll be Wednesday, March 20th. Wednesday, March 20th, we are doing another Wednesday night live. Eric says you will never hunt without a suppressor again. I don't doubt that, Eric. I'm very excited about getting it and very much look forward to it. Now, it's a 450 multi-cal, which means I can put it on any gun that I'm going to shoot, including like a 223, although they did tell me at Jay's, if you put it on a 223, it won't be as effective because you're going to get some gas coming around the bullet because it's a smaller caliber bullet. No, I will not be at the show this weekend. Somebody else asked me that too. No. I've been to Outdoorama. I love Outdoorama, but I'm not going to be able to work it in this weekend. Let's see. She does come on quarterly, Mike. Mike says, hey, a bit late. She should come on quarterly. What a wonderful access to the outdoor world. She does. She joins me every quarter here on Wednesday Night Live. Talked about the DMI. Oh, I'm jonesing to go fishing so bad, and the Angler Quest is in storage right now. I booked a charter trip. I'm paying to go fishing. I'll begin. Tomorrow. Look at this. Emil Rousseau, my man in West Branch, says reservations for Wednesday Night Live begin tomorrow at the Lumberjack, 989-343. I thought it was 0892. Is it 8092? Is that a misprint? Emil, is that a misprint? I thought it was 0892. You will see video of the new suppressor. Yes, Martin. It's a misprint, or that's the correct number? Please post it again. Yes, Martin. My point was the captain is paying a captain to go fishing. 0892, 0892, 0892. Good evening, Kim. And actually, I got a hold of Mark. I said, the weather looks really good Monday. Do you have anybody booked? He said, nope. I said, can I book you for Monday? And can we do a combo trip? Can we do a skinny water trolling trip and a Saginaw River jigging trip? He said, yeah, let's do it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, something else that I am very much looking forward to. Saturday, March 2nd. That's only a week and a half away. Our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. In fact, next Wednesday night, 1 week from tonight, our grand poobah of the Trinity Monitor event, Deidre Hurley, who is the coordinator for the whole thing, will be joining me here on Wednesday Night Live as we kick off the live, the online auction. I bet the Saginaw River did have a lot. Yep, Mark Pananzek. I'm fishing with him Monday. I actually booked a trip with Mark Pananzek on Monday. And I'm looking for, it's always good to fish with other people and see how they do things. Brent will be there at the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. Emil Rousseau says the event is March 20th. Reservations start tomorrow. Call the Lumberjack at 989-343-0892 to make your reservations. Also, if you want to join us Saturday, March 2nd, here's how you do it. Go to one.bidpal.net, one.bidpal.net. That's O-N-E, one.bidpal.net. You can get your tickets there. This weekend, I won't do it right now, but this weekend I'm going to post the QR code so you can just scan that and you could join us. Okay, here's what we are auctioning off at the Trinity Monitor event. As far as hunts, this is the live auction only. Predator hunts with Matt Schock, 3-day guided Michigan turkey hunt with Gary Morgan of Wild Game Dynasty. Youth deer hunts. We've got 2 youth deer hunts. The Schwab Farm and the Hand Farm have donated deer hunts. We have a 5-day whitetail hunt in southern Illinois. We have an African safari. We have a Michigan bear hunt. For fishing, we've got a Lake Michigan salmon fishing trip with Paul Schlafly. We have a Detroit River walleye fishing trip with Captain Mark Pananzak. We have a Saginaw Bay, 2 Saginaw Bay trips, one with Captain Doug Ward and one with me. Doug Ward will be fishing the outer bay. I'll be fishing the inner bay. We have a brook trout fishing trip on the Fox River. And then products like Michigan brand meats for a year. It's going to be a great event. I'd love to have you join us. 1.bidpal.net. That's 1.bidpal.net. Now, let's see if, boom. Here it comes. Again, a big thank you to Amy Trotter of MUCC for joining me tonight. You can join MUCC. Go to the website, mucc.org. That's mucc.org. You can get your tickets for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction at 1.bidpal.net. You will have to be there, obviously, to bid on our live auction, but we have an online auction that kicks off next Wednesday night, and we will do that here on Wednesday Night Live. Our next Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack is Wednesday, March 20th. You can get reservations for that tomorrow, starting tomorrow, 989-343-0892 to get your reservations. Oh, a lot going on. Can you order Dave's cookbook? There are some places to do it. Yes, it is time for some Maker's Mark. You can't order it directly, but you can get it on like eBay and stuff like that. All right, my friends, my name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. We'll talk to you next time right here on Wednesday Night Live. Have a good night.